Hey, slash I do buckaroos. How the heck are you? Hey, we're getting close, aren't we? We're not quite to New Year's Eve, but we're on our way. So I thought I'd have a couple with you here. A nice pairing, if you will. And there's a reason for the pairing, but we'll get to that in a minute. It's the Troegs Mad Elf, or the Mad Elf, I should say, or the Mad Elf. The Mad Elf. If you pronounce it the, it seems to have more emphasis, right? It means more. It's more determination if I say the something. The. Anyway, it's the Mad Elf. Holiday Ale brewed with cherries and honey. It is at 11%. Oh gosh, that's a big one. I didn't realize it was. I was thinking 10, but anyways, hey man, what you gonna do? It's the holiday season. Again, holiday ale brewed with cherries and honey. That's some friends that refer to this as rocket fuel as if it's very hot, and for me, it hasn't been. So I don't know. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if this batch came out more palatable than others. I don't know. I can't answer to that other than to tell you this is the fourth of 6 bottles for me, and I have loved this beer, man. It is so easy to drink, even at that proof. And here's what I decided to pair with it. I opened this around Thanksgiving, and I had a few during that holiday, but then I put it away for a while, and I decided to open it up today to pair with this because it is a honey barrel whiskey. It doesn't say bourbon. It does say bourbon whiskey. Yeah, honey barrel bourbon whiskey, finished in honey cask. It is 114 proof. It's a limited release. And I bought this because, I only bought this one product from them because it was our first stop on vacation. I didn't want to blow the whole wad in one trip, right? So, and the reason I bought this one is because it was just different. There were several products I would have liked to have picked up, but I hadn't seen really honey barrel whiskeys. I've seen maple barrel, this barrel, that barrel, but honey barrel is a little different. So I thought I'm not likely to find another honey barrel whiskey on this trip. So that's why I bought it. And I did find another honey barrel whiskey. So anyways, so I decided to pour just a little bit of this neat. I got a couple ounces poured neat here. I'm going to pair with this particular beer. Produced by Ardent Spirits, Collinsville, home of Old Herald Brewery and Distillery. Show you that bottle. I've really enjoyed this stuff. I'm gonna drink it first, or at least try it first. I'm not gonna drink it all, but try to refresh my memory because it's been about a month since I've had any of it. Bourbon whiskey finished in honey casks. That nose is just beautiful, man. So I have another honey whiskey from Echo Distilling out of Columbus, Ohio. Like I said, I didn't expect to see another honey barrel. And when I was talking to someone there, they say they do an experience where it costs X amount of money. They do a whole tour, and then at the end you fill your own bottle. He says you're early for that. However, but since you're here from out of town, he just charged me the price of the whiskey and not for the price of the whole experience. So I got to fill my own honey barrel whiskey from Echo Distilling. So at some point I'm going to have to pop that one to compare these two. Not necessarily to see which one is better, but just to kind of look at differences. This is gorgeous. I love the nose on this particular whiskey. And I love the mouthfeel, the viscosity. It is just perfect. A little bit of spice on the back end that's kind of surprising, which makes me wonder whose white oak they're using. But again, it's very approachable at that proof. Nice oak in the finish. But honey, yes, you do taste that honey in there, by golly. I'm going to set that down. I'm going to pick up this Troegs Mad Elf. And I'm going to be honest with you up front. Using my snifter here, I poured about half a bottle in here, and that's all I'm going to drink for this video. I'm not going to drink that other half right now. It's going to have the beer and the whiskey, but half of this is plenty. Using my little snifter here. This was passed down from my mom. My dad bought this from my mom, I don't know, 70s maybe. And when her health started to decline, she gave me a lot of the glassware. Oh gosh, that is nice. That is really nice. I don't understand the rocket fuel. I don't get it, man. And I don't know that they've had this year's model. Because I was kind of wondering, because I picked this up back in September. So I didn't know if I got this year's model or if it just been one that had been around for a year. But my friend Jersey Johnny said he looked at the numbers, looked at the date on the bottle and said it was this year's. Just an early release. Holiday ale brewed with cherries and honey. And man, you can taste those cherries and honey. This beer is just so gorgeous. But I'm not getting the rocket fuel thing. I don't get it at all. I wish I had one of those guys here with me to share this bottle with so they could tell me what they're getting that I'm not, or why they're feeling it a certain way while I'm not. Yeah, it's just crazy. I love this beer. I almost didn't buy it because it was September. I'm thinking, do I really want a Christmas beer? And then I thought, well, it is September. At some point, I'm going to want a Christmas beer. And I can't buy this stuff in my neck of the woods. So that kind of made the final decision why I picked it up. And one of the reasons I thought about not picking it up was I was buying a lot of beer. I already had a lot of beer. So I was like, can I really justify this one? But the fact that I can't get it in my neck of the woods, I went ahead and picked it up. And I'm so glad I did. I really like this one a lot. You do taste the cherries. You taste that very subtle honey sweetness. Finish is much drier than you might expect. Got some tiny writing here. I'm going to attempt to read it. It's time. The Mad Elf is here. With this nuanced blend of sweet and tart cherries, Pennsylvania wildflower honey, chocolate malt, and a hint of mischief. I'd say they got more than a hint of mischief in here, but nevertheless. Thanks to a spicy Belgian yeast. Yeah, that's really what does it here. That you get that very nice, tight carbonation. Finishes with subtle notes of cinnamon, clove, and allspice. It's not the holidays until you've had your first Mad Elf. Yeah, this stuff is just gorgeous, man. Cherries are being Lambert or Lambert, depending on how you pronounce it. Van, Royal Anne, and can't read the rest of the other one. Montmorency, maybe. The yeast is spicy Belgian. Nevertheless, this beer is just absolutely gorgeous, man. Gonna pick that whiskey back up and take a little drinky. In case you're not for certain, I'm not really in this nice little holiday pub behind me. But I like the background, man. I thought it would, my poor man's green screen, if you will. Oh, man. This whiskey is just insanely good. But flavors and aromas aside, it's that that viscosity, that mouthfeel. It's just so pleasant to drink. A lot of big spice in the finish. Oh, this thing is just gorgeous. Wish I had about two of them. Wish I had about two, man. Again, it was just because I hadn't had anything from them before, and it was our first stop, so I only felt like I could justify buying one bottle at that time, because there was like 4 or 5 bottles I really wanted to buy. So now I'm just gonna narrow it down to one. But boy, it is delicious. I hope to get. They're only about 3.5 hours from here, just on the other side of the river, the other side of St. Louis. So I'm hoping to get back there at some point this year or next year. Not this year, because this one's almost gone, but next year. I'm already on 2025 time, but yeah, I'm hoping to get back there because I really liked the beer. I really liked the whiskey. We had a mule that was good too. But yeah, the beer was really good. And this whiskey is just phenomenal. When words like great or amazing just won't work, you got to say phenomenal because you got more syllables there. You say, that's phenomenal. Somebody got a word of the day calendar. Anyways, I digress. That Mad Elf is just crazy, man. I I think I might have had it once before. I think a friend sent me a bottle many years ago, but I just had no recollection of it. And so when I saw the 6-pack there, I was thinking, it's not close to Christmas, really, but I ought to buy it anyway. So I did, and I hung on to it till right around Thanksgiving. And when I had popped the first bottle, I thought, oh my Lord, this stuff is just brilliant, man. And I got to tell you, I mean, it is, gosh, I can't even express how much I like this beer. And it does, and it does pair brilliantly with this whiskey, too. Gosh almighty, this is some good stuff. It says Ardent Spirits on the one side, Old Herald on the other. Just assume they're sister companies there. Because it says Old Herald Brewery and Distillery. This is Ardent Spirits. I don't know. I'm not sure why it doesn't say Old Herald Brewery and Ardent Distillery, but nevertheless. Nevertheless, hey man, I can't, man. I don't care. Regardless, the stuff is really good. How about that? It's really good. As we get closer to New Year's, I don't know that I have a specific resolution other than the same one I have every year that never quite gets realized as much as I hope. Just to, lose a few pounds. I was doing really good though. I did lose a few up until vacation. And then, then it was vacation. Then after vacation came Thanksgiving, and then now. I like to think as a society we could be kinder to each other, more accepting of others, being more diverse, because we seem to be in a mode where we want to be very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very myopic, maybe. I mean, you got a certain group of people that doesn't like the word diverse. They don't want any diversity in their life at all. And I think that's what we need as a society to thrive is the diversity. That's what gave us the potential to be great in the first place was our diversity. And you've got folks that want to rail against that. I just think everybody in the world ought to have a bottle of Mad Elf, because I don't know how you could be mad at anybody after drinking a bottle. Everybody ought to drink one bottle right now. Yeah, because wow, it's amazing. You're going to start feeling happy and better about yourself almost immediately. You'll start hugging everybody close to you. Everybody ought to have a bottle right now, right in front of them. Pass out a bottle of Mad Elf to everybody in the world. We'll see how we all get along now. And my answer to those of you that say that won't work, Tom, is my answer is we'll never know until we try, now will we? If we don't give it a shot, how do we know it won't work? I'm not opposed to giving everybody a shot of this whiskey, too. See if this is really good, man. It's making me happy. I'm feeling better about myself with every sip, man. It's really good. But there's a lot of things that make a great whiskey, right? You want the aromas, the flavors to come together in a very specific way. But again, it comes down to that. How does it drink? And this thing just drinks so amazing. It's just velvety smooth. Everything comes together in just the right way, so harmoniously. It's just amazing whiskey. I really like it a lot, which makes me really want to try that other one, but I'm holding off. I don't want to open that one quite yet. But I do want to open it before this one's gone, so I can have some side by side. Again, not to see which one I like better, because I don't know that I'll like one better than the other. But I like to know interpretations, right? The two different distilleries' interpretation of basically the same whiskey, which is a honey barrel finished bourbon. And that one's at Cask too, so that's what makes me curious. I'm looking at similarities and differences and how the different visions, you know. I like to look at things like that. So you've got that nice sweetness developing early on, right? And then you get towards the end where you really start to feel a whole lot of vanilla and a whole lot of oak. Then you get to the end where you get these big, beautiful spice notes. For me, allspice, ginger, you might feel cinnamon, but for me, I'm getting more allspice and cinnamon. So allspice, ginger, you might feel some clove. Maybe even just a note. Hold on a second. Just a hint of white pepper in there. Want to get that right feeling there. Oh man, this stuff is just gorgeous. And you might feel some other things. I use a lot of spices. I use a lot of herbs, so I'm very attuned to those particular aromas and flavors. But I'm not as familiar with a lot of dark fruit notes, so you may pick up some of those that I'm not getting. Because as I tell folks, you can't taste what you don't know. Because I use a lot of spices, when I cook, I tend to pick up those notes more than some would. But because I don't eat a lot of dark fruits, I'm not picking up some of those notes that others might as well. I went a long way around the barn to say that it is a rather complex whiskey, and there's no telling what you might get out of it based on your own particular experiences. So anyways, I digress. I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom, man. Oh my God, that's gorgeous. I'm also Tom the Beer Whisperer, beer evangelist, prolific beer drinker, purveyor of wisdom, man. That beer is beautiful. All around good guys, Slancha. Thanks for tuning in. And if I don't see you before then, Happy New Year.